They say your closest friend knows all your secrets. But what happens when that friend becomes your greatest enemy? This is the story of two women, one wedding, and a lie so devastating it destroyed multiple lives. A story of jealousy, betrayal, and how one moment of envy can create a lifetime of consequences. The Wedding Swap, a true story of betrayal. Grace and Lola had been friends since childhood. They grew up in the same neighborhood, attended the same schools, shared everything. Their dreams, their fears, their hopes for the future. Grace was kind-hearted and gentle, the type of person everyone loved. She worked as a teacher, content with her simple life, always putting others first. Lola was different. Ambitious, competitive, always comparing herself to others. She worked in fashion, constantly seeking validation, always wanting more. Despite their differences, they were inseparable, best friends, sisters by choice. Then, Grace met David. David came from the Adeyemi family, one of the most respected and wealthy families in the region. Old money, royal lineage, the kind of family that appeared in society magazines. But David wasn't interested in status or superficial beauty. He fell in love with Grace's genuine heart, her kindness, her authenticity. Within 6 months, he proposed. Grace was over the moon. She called Lola immediately, asking her to be the maid of honor. "I want you by my side on the most important day of my life," Grace said. Lola congratulated her friend. She hugged her. She smiled. Pause. Music darkens. But inside, something twisted. Envy consumed her like poison. Why her? That's the question that haunted Lola. Why does Grace get the wealthy, handsome man from a royal family? Why does she get the fairy tale ending? Lola began to obsess. She attended wedding planning meetings, smiled through dress fittings, all while resentment grew inside her. She told herself she deserved David more. She was more beautiful, more sophisticated, more suitable for a man of his status. Grace was too simple, too ordinary. The engagement period was 3 months. 3 months of watching Grace's happiness. 3 months of attending family meetings with the Adeyemi family. 3 months of torture. And then Lola had an idea. A terrible, calculated idea. She knew the Adeyemi family's greatest concern, continuing their lineage. David's mother, Mrs. Adeyemi, had mentioned it several times. "We need grandchildren to carry on the family name," she would say. Lola realized this was Grace's vulnerability, and she knew exactly how to exploit it. Lola spent 2 weeks planning. She researched medical terminology, found a corrupt clinic worker who would create a fake document for the right price, and crafted her lie carefully. The forged medical report stated that Grace had undergone a hysterectomy, that her womb had been removed. It looked official, complete with fake doctor signatures and hospital stamps. 1 month before the wedding, Lola requested a private meeting with Mrs. Adeyemi. "I'm only telling you this because I care about your family," Lola said, tears in her eyes. Fake tears, but convincing ones. "Grace is my friend, but I can't let your son marry her without knowing the truth." She handed over the forged medical report. "Grace had a medical emergency years ago," Lola lied smoothly. "She can never have children. She's been hiding it from David because she's afraid of losing him." Mrs. Adeyemi's face went pale. This was her worst nightmare. Her only son marrying a woman who couldn't give her grandchildren. "Are you absolutely certain about this?" Mrs. Adeyemi asked. "I wish it weren't true," Lola said, playing her role perfectly. "But I couldn't let your family discover this after the wedding. You deserve to know." That evening, Mrs. Adeyemi called an emergency family meeting. David was confused when his mother presented the medical report. "We cannot proceed with this marriage," Mrs. Adeyemi declared. "Our family needs heirs. This girl has deceived us." David was devastated but conflicted. In traditional families, a mother's word carries immense weight. The pressure was overwhelming. The next morning, Grace received a cold phone call. The wedding was cancelled. She wasn't given a chance to explain, to defend herself, to prove the document was false. Grace was heartbroken and humiliated. She tried calling David, but he wouldn't answer. She tried visiting the family home, but the gates were closed to her. Meanwhile, Mrs. Adeyemi had a problem. The wedding was in 3 weeks. Hundreds of guests invited. Venues booked. Caterers paid. The family's reputation was at stake. And then Lola made her move. "If I may suggest something," Lola said delicately to Mrs. Adeyemi. "I know this is difficult, but the wedding date is set. To avoid embarrassment and questions. Perhaps David could marry someone else who's already familiar with the family?" Mrs. Adeyemi looked at her. "Are you suggesting?" "I'm already part of the wedding party," Lola said. "I know your family. I respect your traditions. And I can give you the grandchildren you desire." 3 weeks later, David married Lola. The same venue. The same date. The same wedding, just a different bride. Grace watched from afar. Her heart shattered into pieces, unable to understand how her best friend could stand where she was meant to be. Lola had won. Or so she thought. The first year of marriage was filled with pressure. "When will you give us grandchildren?" Mrs. Adeyemi would ask constantly. The second year brought doctor visits. "Everything looks normal," the doctors would say. "Just keep trying." The third year brought fertility treatments, expensive procedures, invasive tests. Nothing worked. The fourth year brought accusations. "Perhaps you're the problem," Mrs. Adeyemi would say coldly to Lola. By the fifth year, David had grown distant. The marriage that began with deception was now filled with resentment. He had never truly loved Lola. She had been a replacement, a solution to a problem. By the 8th year, Lola had undergone every fertility treatment available. Nothing. The doctors finally delivered the truth. Lola had a severe condition that made pregnancy nearly impossible. Ironically, the woman who had accused Grace of infertility was herself unable to conceive. And then a miracle, or perhaps a curse. After 8 years, Lola finally became pregnant. But her body wasn't ready. Years of fertility treatments had taken their toll. Complications arose immediately. Preeclampsia, dangerously high blood pressure. The pregnancy was high risk from the start. The doctors warned her, "Your body may not survive this pregnancy. We recommend." But Lola refused to listen. After 8 years of failure, she finally had what she desperately wanted. She would prove everyone wrong. Labor came early, and it was brutal. Lola struggled for 18 hours. The baby was in distress. Lola was hemorrhaging. The medical team fought to save them both. In the end, they could only save one. The baby survived. A girl. Healthy and beautiful. But Lola died on that delivery table. Her final moments filled with pain and perhaps, finally, regret. Meanwhile, Grace had moved to another city, rebuilt her life, and married a man who truly loved her. She had 2 healthy children and found the happiness that had been stolen from her. She never knew about the forged medical report. She never knew that her best friend had orchestrated her heartbreak. She simply believed that David's family had rejected her for reasons she would never understand. And perhaps that was for the best. Jealousy is a poison that destroys the person who harbors it. Lola spent 8 years in a loveless marriage, pressured and unhappy, all for a position she obtained through lies. She got the wedding. She got the wealthy husband. She got the royal family name. But she never got happiness. She never got love. And in the end, she paid the ultimate price. Grace, the woman she betrayed, found everything Lola had coveted, without needing to lie, cheat, or destroy anyone else. This story reminds us that shortcuts built on deception lead nowhere good. What's meant for you will find you, but only if you walk the path with integrity.